My name is Edward Hubbard, and I'm originally from Greenville, Mississippi, and I came to Jackson in February 18, 1985. And I really came to Jackson because I had a real serious drug and alcohol problem. I'm a recovering drug addict and alcoholic, and I went to treatment in Jackson, Mississippi at New Hope Foundation. My reason for being a recovering drug addict is simply because down in Greenville, I did a lot of things that wasn't good, and I was raised up in a situation where I was struggling trying to live a good life and everything, but things were so hard until I resort to drugs and alcohol in order to become a part of something, belonging to something, John gangs and all that kind of stuff. And in the process of all of that, I wind up going to jail and stealing a lot of stuff and doing things that weren't good. But at the end of that, I got to a point in my life where I got tired of that lifestyle. And I couldn't really change that lifestyle on my own. I didn't have enough help, nor did I have enough support. So I was already in the jail system real bad. So they decided to send me to treatment. And I went to treatment really 3 times. I went to treatment in Greenville twice, and then I went to the Belmont House in Vicksburg, Mississippi, before coming to New Hope Foundation in Jackson, Mississippi. But during that time, while I was in treatment, I was also on 8 years of probation for drug dealing and all sorts of things of that nature. So while I was in treatment, I had made up in my mind, and I realized if I didn't change my life, I was going to wind up either in a mental institution or I was going to wind up dead. And I really wanted to change. I wanted to become a different person, and I didn't want to live that life anymore. So in the process of making that change, it cost me a lot of things that I didn't want to do, but I had to do. I had to change people, places, and things. I had to change my lifestyle. And that was a hard process for me to do because I never lived a structured life. I never lived a life of doing the right thing, going to church and dealing with people that was church peoples and everything of that nature. So I had to learn how to live that life. And it was hard. But I knew if I didn't do it, it was going to cost me my life. So in the process of doing that, I had a lot of people for support. Mr. J.P. Allen, he was my mentor. He walked me through a lot of things that I didn't understand. He walked me through a lot of things that I couldn't put together, but he spent a lot of time with me. And in the process of spending that time, I was catching on. I was learning how to do the things that I needed to do. So I thought after I wasn't drinking or using drugs, I thought I had licked this thing. But I found out that drugs and alcohol really was about 10 or 15% of my problem. My main problem was me, my behavior, and my way of thinking and my way of doing things. So I had to change from the inside out. And when I realized that I had to change my behavior and everything, now that was the problem. That was the hardest problem that I had to deal with because I had to learn how to be honest, learn how to respect people, learn how to do things the right way. I had to get past a lot of insecurity. I had to get past a lot of things that happened to me when I was a child and when I was coming up. And I didn't know that those things that was happening to me played a big part in me being a drug addict and an alcoholic because I didn't like the way I was raised. I didn't like the things that I was doing. So I resort to drugs. I resort to alcohol. I resort to the wrong people because when I was doing all that, that made me feel like I belonged to something. I had found my identity. I had something now that I could really be a part of. So I just got out there and I got out there real wild. But after going through treatment and everything, I realized, I still can't do this. I have got to strengthen my spiritual life. And that was a walk. That was a walk for me because I had to build a relationship with God. And I had to build my own relationship with God. I couldn't use my mom relationship. I couldn't use the people that was around me and all these good people that God had put in my life. I couldn't use those people in order to build my own relationship with God. So I had to find my way, I had to study the Bible. I had to pray. I had to be with people that love the Lord. And being with these people, then that enabled me to catch on and understand and talk spiritual life and everything. And in the process of doing that, it was things happening in my life. I was getting a level of peace that didn't come from people, places, or things. I was getting an understanding about life that I really enjoyed. And then I started feeling good about myself. Then I realized I really do want to live. I really do want to live a godly life. I do want to be a godly man. I do want to do right by people. I do want to respect people. I do want to be respected. Then I realized that if that's what I really wanted, then I had to learn how to treat people that way in order for it to return back to me. So in the process of all of that, that's when I started changing my life. Started talking with God, and God started talking back to me. And I started listening to God. And really, after I really got peace and got me a good job at the state hospital, I worked out there 23 years, and I was taking care of people that had got trapped and couldn't get out in the same lifestyle that I had came out of. So I realized God granted me grace that other people wind up in the insane asylum and everything about, which it could have easily been me had not been for the grace of God. So I worked there for a long time, and after working there, I realized, I enjoyed this. I got to give back what God so freely gave to me, And it really don't start working in your life until you start getting it back. So I started talking with people that had the same problem that God had delivered me from. I was just only telling them people about what God done for me. I didn't have nothing special to tell those people. I didn't have nothing that came out the books that I could tell those people. But I could tell those people how graciously God was to me. So I was just telling them how good God was. I was just trying to draw those people to God so that they could realized that they could come out of the predicament that they were in because God brought me out. So I realized, I said, I like this. I like helping people. I like to see people come out them hard spots that God brought me out. I want those people that's suffering to have the same peace that I got. I want those people that's suffering that could have the same joy that I got because I had lived that miserable life. I know how that pain and suffering feel. I know what they was going through. And I know if God did it for me, He'll do it for them. And I never realized that what I went through, it wasn't for me. It was for the people that was coming from behind me. So I realized this is my ministry. So when I was at the state hospital, I went through a drug and alcohol program at the state hospital. And then I started working as a drug and alcohol counselor at the state hospital. And I enjoyed it. And it was plain as day. The Lord said, yeah, but I got another work for you. This ain't it. I had been at the state hospital 23 years. I literally walked away from there and opened a restoration home. I opened up restoration home and I started working with men with drug problems, alcohol problems, in prison, drug court guys on the street and everything. And that's what I do now. And I work with those guys, and a lot of those guys get a chance to enjoy real good life. They get their life together, they get straight, they get them a relationship with God. I offer drug and alcohol counseling, I offer group counseling, get the GED program, job placements, family counseling, and all of that. And that's what we offer at Restoration Home. But the enjoyment of it all is that if you can go out there with your experience, with a testimony, and you really can't have a testimony unless God have totally delivered you from everything that you've been through. I'm open for anybody that's having problems or struggling with drugs and alcohol. Feel free to contact me, and we can sit down and talk and see what we can work out. My number is 601-209-7070. 7-9. You can't get what I got until you get God. Because what I got, only God can do it.